At the beginning of today's show, welcome into Steelers Talk Live here on Wednesday. We got a great show talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers, the latest around the black and gold today. Cannot wait to break it down with you guys today and talk some Steelers football with my fellow Yinzers on today's show. We got the latest news and rumors coming out of Pittsburgh. We're going to be talking about Matt Canada. We're going to be talking about Kenny Pickett. We're going to be even talking a little bit Mitch Trubisky today on that segment. So make sure you stick around here for our first segment in about 5 to 10 minutes. Then also, I got my list here of early Matt Canada replacements if Matt Canada ends up getting fired. I've got two people that I think will be interim candidates, and then I've got 5 people around the league that I would prioritize heading into the 2024 season to be the new offensive coordinator of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then, of course, just like every week, I'm answering your questions on the Steelers. If you've got a question about Matt Canada, if you got a question about Kenny Pickett, if you got a question about the defense, if you got a question about Mike Tomlin, anything to do with the Pittsburgh Steelers, I am answering your questions today. So when you get a second here, if you want to get on today's show, you can use hashtag Steelers in the live chat right now, or you can super chat along with your question to make sure you get on the show, because lots of people submit questions. You won't guarantee yourself a question on the show if you just use hashtag Steelers. But if you want to be guaranteed on the show, make sure you get those super chats in today. And now let's bring on my partner in crime here and producer, Jeffrey Cooperstein. Let's go, man. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Let's go, man. Coop, how you doing today, my friend?
I'm good, brother. How are you doing? It's a game week. We play Baltimore this week, arch rival. F the Ravens, #1.
It's Ravens week, man.
It's Ravens hate week. I'm excited for this game, man. It's going to be really
Tensions
fun.
are high. Stakes are high for Matt Canada this week, it seems like. Stakes are going to be high for Kenny Pickett as well if he is on the field. And listen, man, this is one of the best, if not the best rivalry in the National Football League, in my opinion. Steelers, Ravens, we have seen so many physical matchups between these two teams, so many high-stakes matchups between these two teams.
When you think of Steelers, Ravens, you think of Ray Lewis, you think of Troy Polamalu, you think of all their...
Big Ben Roethlisberger, all of those guys. And now we get the latest iteration. Of course, the Ravens will be coming to Acrisure Stadium here in Week 5, and listen, the Steelers are kind of at a crossroads here their season.
Yes, they are.
2-2 on the year. They lose Week 1. They win 2 straight. Then they get absolutely destroyed against the Houston Texans in Week 4. And the alarm bells are sounding here in Steelers Nation. Yeah, big time here. Lots of people wanted Mike Tomlin to fire Matt Canada this week. But personally, I think that he's probably going to be more of somebody that they consider firing next week, heading into the bye week. You have a bye. You can have 2 weeks to implement a new guy if need be. But personally, I'm going to get into this on today's show and today's segments. I really do think that this is the week where Matt Canada needs to prove his worth, or he's going to be out of here.
Oh, of course. I mean, if it's against an AFC North rival and you don't prove your worth and the offense doesn't look good, Mike Tomlin has every reason in the world to fire him. Now, Matt Canada will get a boost because it sounds like Kenny Pickett going to play on Sunday. He told reporters he'll be ready to go.
Yeah, we got some really great news on Monday that Pickett's injury is just a bone bruise and a muscle strain. Tomlin told the media that Pickett's performance in practice this week will determine whether or not he's going to play on Sunday. And then today, Kenny told the media, he told reporters, I'll be ready to go by Sunday. So we can expect to see KP8 back on the field this week and not miss any more time, which is absolutely fantastic for the Steelers offense. There's a little bit of a debate going on right now whether or not, even if Kenny can play, should they start Mitch Trubisky? Should they see what they have in Trubisky here because Pickett has not played overly well? I'm going to break down that debate here and let you guys know my take on that in just a second. But, man, Ravens week this week. Those dreaded Ratbirds are coming here. Our Ravens host, Tyler Jones, is already talking mad shit. I want to beat this team so bad this week. Hopefully, Kenny, Matt Canada, and the Steelers offense can finally figure things out on the offensive side of the ball this week. However, I'm not too confident, Coop. I mean, what can I say? I mean, you score 6 points against the Texans when they were missing 2 of their starting corners, their number 1 inside linebacker, and and then you only score 7 against San Francisco. So I'm looking at the Ravens, who have one of the best defenses in football right now. I look at a team that's really playing well, and I think the Steelers' defense is actually going to do a good job at limiting what Lamar Jackson does this week. Lamar's not really good playing against the Steelers in his career, but I just think Matt Canada and this offense, even with Pickett in the ball game, maybe they score a little bit more than 7 with Pickett instead of Trubisky, but I still think that this is going to be another rough offensive performance, and hopefully if this ends up being true and I'm right and they lose 20-7 and they score less than 10 points, hopefully Mike Tomlin will finally wise up here and send Matt Canada packing.
Send him to the freaking moon, dude. We all know Matt Canada sucks. And speaking of, in case you haven't heard, there may be a Matt Canada burner account on Twitter.
So if you guys haven't heard yet, there is a rumor going around that Matt Canada, the Steelers offensive coordinator, might be defending his own honor on Twitter with this burner account. This Dan Robbins guy, people found out that the email linked to this account right here, which by the way is following nobody, 0 followers, right? Or following 0 people, is replying to a bunch of big-time Steelers Twitter accounts.
All about Matt Canada.
And they're all about, just sticking up for Matt Canada. And the email address linked to this Twitter page, Dan Robbins, it's like MA ... at s ... So people are thinking that means Matthew.Canada at Steelers.com. And let me tell you, I don't think it's impossible that it's Matthew Canada.
Which is insane to think about. If maybe he should work on more the playbook than talking to people on Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. He should be working on getting this offense back right instead of defending his own honor.
If you missed it, we did a video earlier, so this way. Please go check it out. It's already on the channel.
Yeah, we did a video on this earlier, so if you want to learn more about this potential burner account and what he said about Mike Tomlin, Chris Boswell, Kenny Pickett, George Pickens.
Why is Matt Canada taking a shot at the kicker?
I don't know, man. That's kind of a joke where he was like, what's the common denominator between all the last 3 offensive coordinators for the Steelers? Mike Tomlin and Chris Boswell. I'm like, how did Boz get into this conversation, man? You're gonna put the Steelers' struggles on Chris Boswell, Matt Canada? I don't know what to say about that, man, but let me know what you guys think down there in the chat. Do you think Matt Canada has a burner account? Do you think that this is him? I don't necessarily think it is, Coop. I think, you look at the Steelers and their work emails, it's at steelers.nfl.com, and there's not enough letters in that email address that you just showed for that to be the case. So I don't think it's Matt Canada.
I want to choose to believe that it's him, so I'm just going to go ahead and say yes, because I want it to be him so bad. Especially, the biggest reason why I want it to be him is because if it is him, he will be fired.
Yeah, I mean, if they find out that this is actually him, and
he's out,
and he's slamming Mike Tomlin, he is slamming Kenny Pickett, his own players, like he is gone. So I hope it's him, and I hope the Steelers find out it's him. But I mean, I don't think the email address exactly lines up to what it should be, and I mean. Canada's a busy guy. I mean, this would be incredible if this was actually him.
If he found time to have a burner while running an offense, even though he runs the offense terribly, it would be something else.
It would be something else, man. All right, so we've got some Super Chat menu items for you guys today. If you want to get your question at the top of today's mailbag, you can send in a Super Chat.
Bless you.
Excuse me. Sorry, my allergies are back. $5 Super Chat, we'll wave around the terrible towels, and we'll go, here we go, Steelers for you. $10, we'll sing the Oh Canada song, where we completely demolish Matt Canada, F-U-C-K, Canada, Mr. Coop. Then $20 Super Chats, we got these nasty jelly beans, just got a brand new box of the Bean-Boozled jelly beans. Took a little bit of a break from them, Coop, but they're back on the Super Chat menu. So if you want us to eat some nasty jelly beans, we got flavors like liver and onions, dead fish, old Band-Aid, booger, dirty dishwater, rotten eggs, stink bug, stinky socks, barf, and toothpaste. We don't do toothpaste because the toothpaste ones actually don't taste that bad. But if you want us to eat some terrible jelly beans, a $20 Super Chat will do it. $50 if you want me to slap Coop with a tortilla, $50 is the price. And then $100 total today on today's stream, and you would join Steelers Talk Gold Club. You get entered into every single raffle that we do. You get additional raffle entries for every single raffle we do. Plus, you get an awesome Super Chat sticker that says Steelers Talk Gold Club next to your Super Chats for life. So here are the Gold Club members here. I want to give a shout-out to Austin, Mo Love, Brian, Anthony, Nathan, James, DJV, Patty, Elliptic 6, Alexander, Zach, Troy, Andrew, Jesse, Go Blue Buckeyes, Samuel Pugh, Hot Rod 24, Black and Gold Emperor, Lord Buddy Bear, Max Payne, Chad Corley, and then our newest member of Gold Club, and a Black Diamond, by the way.
F1 Video Watcher.
F1 Video Watcher. Now, I don't know if F1 is here right now, but if you are a real one. Thank you so much for all of your support on last week's watch party. If you want to be next, on this list, $100 total on today's stream will get the job done. Now, before we get into our first segment today, let's break a Steelers Talk record right now. For the next 60 seconds, type PIT as many times as you can. Spam it in the chat. I'm right there with you. 60 seconds. F Canada. Let's go. Get those PITs in the chat. Who's with me here? We've got Lane in here. We've got Timothy. We've got My 190. We got Kenny Pickett. My girlfriend Cassie's in the chat. Let's go. Get those PITs in the chat for the next 45 seconds.
Kenny Pickettsburg. We got Shane. We got JD. We got D. O'Brien. We got Lane. We got Gabriel. Chuck. Deborah. Corey. Let's go. Get the PITs in. F Baltimore and F Canada. I'm so excited for this game. I just love rivalry games. And I know the hate that these two franchises have for each other. And I'm just super pumped about it. It's going to be a
30 more seconds. Let's go. Keep them coming. We keep giving some shout-outs here, Coop. I see President Nitty in there.
Oh, I see Mark and Kevin and Timothy and James. Let's freaking go. Oh, I'm pumped. Here we go. Week 5. Steelers Talk live show. We got a lot of good stuff coming up for you guys today. And we're excited to share it. We got Kevin.
15 more seconds. Let's go.
My 190. Kenny Pickettsburg again. Let's go, baby.
10 more seconds. Come on. Let's beat the record. Get those PITs
Steven,
in the chat.
Psycho. Steelers dad. Corey O'Connell. You guys are
5,
close.
4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go, man. There it is. We just broke the record for the biggest chat rate spike in Steelers Talk history. Give yourselves a hand. And now, if you want us to start the show, we need to get to at least 30 likes on today's stream to get to this first segment. We're at 26 right now. Who's going to get us over the top here? We got 123 people watching. Help us get to 30 likes here, and we'll start today's first segment.
The bosses told me 45. I'm just saying.
All right, so I guess our bosses just said to Coop that we need 45 likes. We just got to 40. We need 5 more likes. Can we get there?
Come on, baby.
Come on now. Let's get today started. Don't hold up the show now. Don't hold it up. Don't be that guy now. If you want, there we go. We got the 50. There we go, Coop. All right, so coming up on today's show, we're just about to get into the latest Steelers news and rumors of the day. Going to be talking about Kenny Pickett, Mitchell Trubisky a little bit. Ben Roethlisberger's name has been thrown around as a potential Matt Canada replacement. What? And then speaking of replacements, I have my official list of Matt Canada replacements. If the Steelers decide to fire him this week, you guys will have my list. And then also, make sure you get those questions in. Hashtag Steelers or Super Chat. for the Steelers Talk live mailbag coming up here in about 20 to 25 minutes or so. All right, Coop, are we about ready to get things going here in our first segment? All right, here we go. We got Steelers news and rumors coming at you right now. The Steelers make 5 roster moves this week in preparation for this Week 5 matchup between the Baltimore Ravens and your Pittsburgh Steelers. Going to break those down and what I think here in just a second. Then also there's a debate going around Steelers Nation that Mitch Trubisky should get the start over Kenny Pickett even if he's healthy here for Week 5. Going to let you know my thoughts on that idea here in just a sec as well. And then also, Big Ben Roethlisberger's name is starting to get thrown around Steelers Twitter as a Matt Canada replacement. Gonna let you know my ideas on all 3 of these topics here coming up on today's show. But before we get into that, make sure you click that subscribe button and join us for our live watch party on Sunday. We're going to be going live at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, an hour of pregame before Steelers versus Ravens. Live play-by-play of every single play. Get my live reactions to everything that happens. We're going to be having super chat giveaways, raffles, all that good stuff. So if you want a place to kick it with your fellow Yinzers this year, join the most interactive Steelers YouTube community for free here on YouTube. All right, so now let's talk about these roster moves that the Pittsburgh Steelers ended up making this week. They have added Des Fitzpatrick back to the practice squad. They released him. Now he's back on the PS. Then we've got Denzel Mims, kind of a bigger name wide receiver, former second-round pick out of Baylor University, drafted by the Jets, was moved or has been signed to the practice squad. Then Obinna Eze, the offensive tackle, signed to the practice squad as well this week. Noah Gindorf, if you guys remember my draft coverage, I had Noah Gindorf as one of my sleeper picks in this year's NFL draft. The Steelers just picked him up for nothing here as an undrafted free agent. He's been added to the practice squad after Pat Freiermuth's injury. And then Rodney Williams, a camp standout this year. He's been on the practice squad, has been moved to the 53-man roster. Now some quick thoughts on these roster moves here. So Rodney Williams, somebody that was a big-time training camp standout. You know, this was a very loaded tight end room during training camp, right? You had Freiermuth. You had Gentry. You had, of course, Hayward. Of course, you had Darnell Washington. And then Williams was kind of buried on that list, and no one really expected him to end up making the team or the practice squad, but he ended up earning himself a role here and getting on the practice squad. And because Pat Freiermuth is now hurt for the next couple of weeks, Rodney Williams has earned himself a spot on the 53-man roster, and he'll be on the Steelers roster here for this Week 5 matchup versus the Ravens as a backup tight end. Then another bit of news here, kind of a bigger name receiver that the Steelers signed. Denzel Mims has been added to the practice squad. Now, if you want my take on this, I really don't think Mims is going to be a factor. He's going to be more of a non-factor for the Steelers moving forward. Deontay Johnson is looking like he's going to be back after the Week 6 bye. You've got Calvin Austin III that's playing really well. Of course, you got George Pickens at the X-receiver spot. So although Denzel Mims provides some nice depth if you absolutely need it, he's a physical wide receiver. He's got good size, decent athleticism as well. I think moving forward, if you're expecting him to be elevated on this roster and to play significant snaps, I think you're going to be disappointed. And then I think the most interesting move here, I talked about Noah Gindorf, the tight end out of NDSU. He had a very major leg injury last year, which is probably the biggest reason why he didn't get drafted in this year's NFL draft, didn't end up making an NFL roster. But man, this guy is absolutely massive. He's like 6'8". He is, like, if you think Darnell Washington's big, this guy is even bigger than Darnell Washington. He is huge. He is athletic. He can move. He's a really good blocker. And if the Steelers are really trying to establish a running presence with these tight end sets, I think Noah Gindorf could be somebody that we could maybe even see get elevated to the 53-man roster in the weeks to come. And, just imagine Darnell Washington and Noah Gindorf, two giant tight ends, two great blockers at the tight end position. Just imagine the things that Matt Canada and the Steelers offense can do with those two guys in the run game. I think that's a very interesting prospect. So keep your eye on Noah Gindorf because he's absolutely massive. He is huge. He's athletic. Now, the big thing here is going to be the health of his leg, all these different things that he did last year where it's a really nasty injury. Multiple injuries in his leg last year they had to recover from. Wasn't able to go to the combine this year because of it. He's still recovering from it, so it's going to be interesting to see if he can really prove himself or has the chance to prove himself. But overall, I think it's an interesting move. You got to keep your eye on it. Now, coming up here, I'm going to go over this debate of should Mitchell Trubisky start over Kenny Pickett after Pickett's slow start to the 2023 campaign. But first, let's talk about our sponsor today, BetUS. Go to chatsports.com/bet. Use promo code Steelers125 for a 125% deposit bonus today. Now, what does that mean, a deposit bonus? That means if you go to the BetUS website and put in a deposit of $100 to $600, they're going to match that 125% to use on your bet. So essentially what that means, you put in a $100 deposit, you get $225 in total value there because you get $125 additional dollars for just a $100 investment. If you love sports betting, you got to make sure you take advantage of this deal. Go to chatsports.com/bet and use promo code Steelers125 to take advantage of that deposit bonus today. So now let's talk about this Kenny Pickett versus Mitchell Trubisky debate that's been going on Steelers Twitter after Kenny Pickett ended up getting hurt in that game versus the Houston Texans. Now, this all stems from Kenny Pickett not playing very good to start this season. You take a look at the stats to this point, 60.6 completion percentage, just about 200 yards passing per game, 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and that's not even counting the multiple dropped interceptions that Pickett has been lucky enough to not have to this point. I believe he has 3 to this point in the season, so it's more like 4 touchdowns to 7 interceptions to this point. Definitely not a great start for the second-year quarterback, and people are looking at the career average numbers here between Pickett and Trubisky, and you can definitely make an argument that Trubisky has been the better quarterback on average throughout his career than Kenny has. He's got a higher completion percentage, more yards per attempt. Now, the yards per game is about the same, but Pickett has a slight advantage. And then the touchdowns per attempt, pretty much like 1.7 points higher than Kenny Pickett at this point is for Mitch. So that's a lot better, to be completely honest with you. And then the interceptions per attempt are about the same. So I can kind of understand why some people are making this argument. Trubisky is the guy with more experience. His career numbers and averages are better. But also keep this in mind, okay, because we just got news from Adam Schefter that Kenny Pickett, who suffered a bone bruise and a muscle strain in his knee versus the Houston Texans in Week 4, says that he's going to be ready to go by Sunday. So if you're going to be starting Mitch, it's going to be because you don't trust Kenny Pickett anymore and you're straight up benching him. And I really don't think that that's going to happen, but I think that it'd be very interesting to see Mitchell Trubisky get his chance to start in this football game. Now, I'm not advocating for that. I think Kenny Pickett should start this football game if he's healthy. But I think looking at what Mitch has done over the last year and a half here in Pittsburgh is definitely very interesting. When he was the leading passer for the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2022, the team was 3-3, right? You got the Bengals in Week 1 with that overtime victory. He did a really good job towards the end of that game to get the victory there in Cincinnati. Then, of course, he gets 2 straight losses, doesn't play well in the first half of the Jets game, gets benched. But then he comes back Week 6, gets the victory versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, looked pretty good in that one. Then the next opportunity that he gets against the Baltimore Ravens, 3 interceptions, not good whatsoever. I mean, he just looked terrible in that football game, let's be completely honest with you. But then he bounces back the next week, and he has a very nice performance in Week 15 versus the Panthers in what was arguably one of the best performances from a Steelers quarterback in 2022, including Kenny Pickett. And you can see that translated into the numbers here. 65% completion percentage, over 1,200 yards. 4 touchdowns to 5 interceptions certainly isn't great, but keep in mind that 3 of those interceptions came in one singular game. So if you take that away, man, he's got 4 touchdowns to 2 interceptions in 5 games played, which isn't all that bad. So I can see why some people are out there wanting to see what Mitch can do. But personally, I'm still sticking with Kenny Pickett. You drafted him in the first round. You have to give the kid his shot at the starting job this season, plain and simply. I mean, if it continues past Week 8, 9, 10, and he's still not getting it done, maybe you think about making a switch, but I still think it's way too early to make the switch at this point. Now, let me know what you guys think is the better player, the better quarterback, or who's going to be the better quarterback moving forward. Is it Kenny Pickett, type KP, or do you think it's Mitchell Trubisky, type MT? And this is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. when that happens, take advantage of this time by answering today's pinned question. Now let's talk about the Matt Canada situation here, where the latest rumor here is that Matt Canada, if he gets fired after this week versus the Ravens, that big Ben Roethlisberger, that's right, future Hall of Fame quarterback, should come back and coordinate the Steelers' offense for the rest of this season. Now, is there any truth or any inkling of truth to this rumor? I don't think so. I would say don't get your hopes up here, guys. As much as it would be very interesting, as much as it would be an awesome story to see Big Ben back on the Steelers sideline with a headset this time, calling plays, I just don't think it's going to happen. Ben has said a number of times that he does not want to get back into the game of football at this point in his life. He wants to enjoy retirement. He wants to enjoy his time with his family and his podcast he's enjoying as well. So it just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. I understand why Steelers fans are like, hell yeah, he knows the offense. He knows the terminology. Let's bring him in. But at the end of the day, I just don't think that's something Ben necessarily wants to do. And now speaking of Matt Canada and a potential switch up coming, it seems like Matt Canada is trying to kind of vie for his own job here, as people are starting to speculate now that Canada has been using a burner account on Twitter to defend himself against other Steelers media personalities, which would be absolutely fantastic if it was the truth. Now, is it really the truth? You're going to have to find that out by checking out our video earlier today where I went over this entire situation. I'm going to tell you what the situation is with the account. I'm going to tell you what the account has been saying, and then also whether or not I actually think that it is Matt Canada behind this account that has been relentlessly coming to the defense of Matt Canada, the offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think the answer might actually surprise you. Now, that'll be it for today's show, guys. Really do appreciate all of your support. Make sure you click that subscribe button, because if Matt Canada gets fired next week, we are going live and we are going to have an absolute party here on the show. If you don't want to miss that and you don't want to miss our live watch party this Sunday versus the Ravens, make sure you click that subscribe button right now. All right, first cut out of the way, Coop.
I really hope that that's Canada's burner account. I just want it to be true just for the memes.
It would be absolutely hilarious if it was. I think it's probably like a 10% chance that it's actually his.
He can't be that stupid. That's kind of where I'm at.
It's not the stupidity aspect of it, because I do think Matt Canada is stupid enough to do that. Don't get me wrong.
Considering his play calling, he might be.
Absolutely, but it's just the email thing. You know, you've seen the shots of the email, and it's like MA ... at .com, and people are thinking that that's Matthew Canada at Steelers.com.
I don't know if it is.
And it could be, but also the Steelers official team emails are at Steelers.NFL.com. So it doesn't really fit the certain parameters. I think it's a really good fake. I think they've done a really good job at making people think it's Matt Canada. I just don't think it is. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments section. Who's the better QB right now? Is it Kenny Pickett or is it Mitchell Trubisky, Coop? I think that there's an argument to be made. It's Trubisky, but I also think you have to keep riding with Kenny and see what you have with the younger quarterback.
I agree. You have to keep riding with Kenny. He's your future of the franchise, maybe.
Hopefully.
And Mitch Trubisky is not your future, so you have to keep riding with Kenny and see what he has. There's no reason to make a change. Now, would I start Kenny this week to ensure Pickett's fully healthy and give him the bye week as well? Maybe.
I mean, it seems like Pickett's fine.
Yeah, it seems like he's fine and ready to go.
Seems like he's fine. So if you're starting Trubisky, you're not really benching Pickett for health reasons. You're benching him because you don't trust him. And, I'm not sure if I'm at that point. People that watch the show know that I'm not afraid to criticize Kenny Pickett.
You never have been.
And, I'm always somebody that's going to keep it a stack with you guys, keep it 100, and I'm going to tell you what I see on film. And to be honest with you, it's been awful throughout. I mean, the offensive line play, the quarterback play, and the play calling as a whole, the foundation of your offense are those three things, and all three of those things are arguably the worst in football right now. Kenny looked decent against Las Vegas, I guess, but it still looked way harder than it needed to be. It was the defense that ended up winning those two football games in week 2 and week 3.
Go vote in the new.
But I mean, because Pickett hasn't really shown unequivocally that he is better than Mitch.
If you're in the AFC title game and you have one game to win to go to the Super Bowl, which quarterback are you picking?
For the Super Bowl?
You need one game to win to go to the Super Bowl.
I'm picking Trubisky.
Really?
I'm picking Trubisky right now. But I'm playing Kenny in a regular season game because we still don't know what he is. We've only seen him.
We won't know.
He hasn't even started a whole season yet. You know what I'm saying?
We won't know what Kenny Pickett is until he gets an offensive coordinator who's somewhat competent.
Yeah, that's somewhat true. I'd say that's half true, Coop. I will say that this offense does him absolutely zero favors.
Zero.
But then also, Kenny will have stuff open for him.
And he won't hit it.
And he won't hit it. And that's on the quarterback. It just is. When you have an open receiver, you're looking right at him, and either he turns it down or it's an inaccurate pass. I don't care what anybody says. That's on the freaking quarterback. So I'm somebody that likes to give credit and blame where it's due. I think there's a lot of blame to go around both Kenny Pickett and Matt Canada. People always want to just find one person to blame.
And Mike Tomlin, for that matter.
No, there's not just one person that can be blamed for this entire mess, right? If you're thinking that way and you're looking for just one person to lay 100% of the blame at their feet, I think you're thinking about it the wrong way. I think the nuanced take here is you acknowledge when somebody does good things and you also criticize the bad things in individual circumstances, and then you split up the blame evenly, right? I think that's the more nuanced take. I want Kenny to play this week if he's available to play. But I can't say I'm not a little bit intrigued to see if this offense is at least a little bit better with Mitchell Trubisky as the quarterback.
But it sounds like, according to Kenny, he's ready to go on Sunday.
Yeah, so I have a feeling Kenny will be on the field. We'll see how well he performs. We'll see how the knee is looking and his mobility and all that stuff.
Before we get to our next segment, I also just wanted to bring this to your attention, Sperry. Sounds like Chase Claypool, who was traded from the Steelers to the Bears last year, is going to be cut by the Bears.
I mean, is that one of the worst trades in football history? I mean, our Bears host Harrison Graham was telling me all offseason, he's going to be good. He's going to be good. That's a good trade for Chicago. I'm like,
it's week 5 and he's going to be cut.
I'm like, I hate to break it to you, Graham. He sucks. All right, he's terrible. And I think that was probably Omar Khan's magnum opus this offseason. Getting a second-round pick that turns into Joey Porter Jr., who's looking really good, by the way, for a guy in Chase Claypool who is a worthless wide receiver.
He might be out of the league.
He might be out of the league now, 100%. It wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. All right, so we're about to get into this mailbag here. If you want to get your question at the top, here's our Super Chat menu for the day. If you want us to sing the O Canada song, $10, $5, here we go, Steelers. You know what? I'm gonna go half price here.
Slash it.
Slashing those prices. Any super chat, we'll do a Here We Go Steelers. $5 O Canada songs, $10 Bean-Boozled jelly beans, and then $20 tortilla slaps. All right, so if you guys want to get those super chats in and you want us to do some crazy stuff, go ahead, get that done. Otherwise, get hashtag Steelers along with your question down in the chat, or you can super chat, get your question on the show for sure. Guarantee your spot. But we still need a couple more questions. So if you got any questions on Matt Canada, Mike Tomlin, Kenny Pickett, Mitchell Trubisky, anything with the Pittsburgh Steelers, I can't wait to answer your questions today. So make sure you get those questions in. There we go. Kenny Pickettsburg with a $2 super chat. And he says, O-line coach to blame for run game problems. Listen, man. The offensive line has been absolutely terrible throughout this entire season, over the last couple of seasons, actually. And we've seen quite a few players in this in this system leave to other places
and
be good. Kevin Dotson right now, you remember how much we thought he was one of the worst offensive guards in football? Oh, yeah, he's the number 2 graded offensive guard in football right now with the Los Angeles Rams. Well, that's on Pat Meyer, at least a little bit, right? Kendrick Green looked like the worst offensive lineman in football during the preseason. Hold on, Coop. Let me get my take out before we do the Here We Go Steelers. But, Did you put up his super chat, by the way?
I did.
Okay. But anyway, if I can finish my thought there, Pat Meyer might be the worst offensive line coach in the game of football today at the NFL level. He needs to get replaced. As much as we talk about Matt Canada needing to get replaced, look at all these guys. Look at Isaac Seumalo. Big step backwards after coming into this offense, right? Broderick Jones. I mean, apparently he's looking good at practice, but he still looks pretty darn raw. Dan Moore Jr. has been the worst offensive tackle in the league this year. Chukwuma Okorafor still looks lost. James Daniels has took a step backwards.
It's poor, man.
A lot of that is on the offensive line coach, Pat Meyer. So I'd say just as much as you want to say Matt Canada, get him fired, and I completely agree with that, fire Pat Meyer as well. I mean, you need to get somebody competent in that role, and right now it just doesn't look like Pat Meyer really knows what he's doing as the offensive line coach because he can't develop anybody.
Fire everyone except for Tomlin.
I mean, there's a lot of people out there that want to fire Tomlin too.
Everyone!
Fire everyone. I mean, we are 2-2, Coop. The season's not completely done yet. But thank you so much for that $2 super chat. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Thank you so much for your $2 super chat, my friend. How are we doing on questions here, Coop?
Let's take a look here. I saw a question from Young Noticeable coming in. I see a question from Lord, from Theodore, from Not Cologne. Ooh, he says, I know something you don't. What does he know?
I don't know.
What do you know, Not Cologne?
What do you know, Not Cologne? Let us know.
We need a couple more questions for us to start our mailbag. So use hashtag Steelers or Super Chat.
Get those questions down there, man. If you got any questions about Kenny, about Mike Tomlin, about Matt Canada, about whatever, I'm happy to answer them today.
You can ask what Jack's favorite ice cream is.
You could ask that. It is the Steelers talk mailbag, though. If you have like a trade idea as well, you could put that down there.
Who doesn't want to talk about ice cream?
Me?
You don't like ice cream?
I love ice cream. I don't want to talk about ice cream on the Steelers talk mailbag, though, Coop.
You sound like Matt Russia.
Matt Russia. Goodness gracious, man. I want to sing the Canada song. A $5 super chat, and we'll sing the Matt Canada song. If you guys haven't heard the Matt Canada song, you might want to hear it.
It's pretty electric, I won't lie to you.
It's to the tune of "O Canada," the Canadian national anthem. And let me tell you, it's pretty electric if you guys haven't heard it yet.
Not Kalen says good news to come in the next 7 days.
Good news to come in the next 7 days. So that's probably that's a Matt Canada reference.
I don't know.
That's got to be because what else is going to be happening next week?
No, you're right.
And listen, I know a lot of people are upset that Mike Tomlin did not fire Matt Canada this week. But listen, man, you got one more week until the bye. The bye is the perfect opportunity to get rid of Matt Canada.
Agreed.
Mike Tomlin has said multiple times, has been laying down hints over the last couple of days that he is not happy with the offense and changes need to be made.
Hopefully those come soon.
And with the bye week coming up, I think if they lay another egg here and they score 6, 7, 10 points again and the offense looks like booty, I think Matt Canada's gone. What do you say, Coop? What do you think?
If they have a poor offensive performance on Sunday, I believe he will be gone. There's no time like the present, especially going into the bye week. It's the perfect time to make a change.
My biggest fear is that the Steelers are going to score like 28 points, get like 350 yards of total offense.
And Mike Tomlin will be like, see?
Yeah, and then get the win. And then Mike Tomlin's like, we have to keep him. I don't want to do that. And a first-time super chatter coming in with a $5 super chat.
Whoop, 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 whoop,
Let's
whoop,
go,
whoop,
man. I don't think that's the right name.
That's not the right one.
I'm seeing Tanker365. What are we doing, Coop?
F Coop.
F Coop in the chat.
I got you, Tanker. There you are.
Tanker365, a first-time super chat. So some Ric Flair drip from my man Tanker. Woo! And he says, if they do fire Matt Canada, why not hire Byron Leftwich? He won a Super Bowl with the Bucks and Brady as an OC, and he used to play for the Steelers. Well, actually, Tanker, you might see Byron Leftwich's name on my Matt Canada replacements list later.
Go to the channel.
So make sure you stick around to the end of today's show, where I'm going to be breaking down Byron Leftwich, everything that he's done in his career, and why he might be a fit. So thank you so much for your $5 super chat. And with that $5 super chat, we get to sing the Matt Canada song, Coop. Ready? Oh, Canada, you dumb and stupid man. All know you suck except for Mike Tomlin. With burning hearts we see you suck, calling jet sweeps 1, 2, 3. From far and wide, oh Canada, we share our hate for thee. F-U-C-K, Canada!
Let's go!
Suck it, Matt Canada, you stink!
You're gonna be fired, bud.
Yeah, this is his last chance. It's his last chance, okay? Yeah.
It's great.
Sam Brown just came in here, our producer, and said, that's the best song he's heard all day. And I couldn't agree more. Matt Canada sucks. If you want us to sing it again, send in another $5 super chat. All right, Coop, do we have enough questions?
We are good to go, my friend.
All right, if you guys want us to sing the Matt Canada song on the way back out of this break, every $5 super chat we get during this segment, we will sing the song. All right, so now let's get into the Steelers Talk mailbag, where I answer your questions on the black and gold. It is week 5 of the 2023 NFL season, and I am here to answer your questions on the 2-2 Pittsburgh Steelers here on Steelers Talk. Before I get to your questions here, do me a favor. Click that thumbs up icon if you hate the Baltimore Ravens and you want the Steelers to win this week in week 5. We can see everybody that watches these videos. We can see everybody that likes them. So if you don't like today's video, I might be calling all the Ravens fans out in the chat next show. All right, now let's get into the first question from my man Kenny Pickettsburg with a $2 super chat. He says, O-line coach to blame for the run game problems. And I would say yes, definitely. Pat Meyer, the offensive line coach here in Pittsburgh, has played a big role in this offensive line not being very good over the last several years, right? So you look at the last couple of years, right? We've had an influx of talent come in, and it just has never worked out. And this year, it arguably looks the worst that it ever has. Dan Moore Jr. is the lowest graded left tackle in football. Broderick Jones is going to get the start this week because DMJ's hurt, but Chukwuma Okorafor looks lost. James Daniels has taken a step back. And kind of the case in point here is a couple of different things. First, you're bringing in talent like Isaac Seumalo, for instance. That was one of the highest graded offensive guards in the game, in a very competent organization there with the Philadelphia Eagles. Now he comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and listen, he played a good week in week 4, but in the first 3 weeks, he was one of the lowest graded guards in the game. Why is that? It's because the coaching isn't there. It's because the discipline's not there for the unit and the chemistry's not there. A lot of that is on the offensive coordinator. Some of that's on the head coach. And then a lot of it as well is on the offensive line coach, Pat Meyer, who has not been a very good coach to this point in his career. You've got influx of talent, and also the guys that you get rid of. Kendrick Green, he hasn't been great with the Houston Texans, but in the first 4 weeks when he was on the field, he was a below average starting guard in the league. When if he was playing on the Pittsburgh Steelers, he probably would have been the lowest graded guard. He sucked with the Steelers, and he was at least serviceable with the Houston Texans. And then maybe the biggest example is Kevin Dotson, who many Steelers fans wanted out of this organization so bad last year. They trade him away to the Los Angeles Rams, and look at him now. Through the first 4 weeks, the second highest graded guard in football once he gets to a competent organization with a competent offensive line coach. So yes, Pat Meyer has a big role to play here in the offensive line struggles, and that's definitely part of the reason why the run game is struggling right now in Pittsburgh. Then we got a $5 super chat from my man Tanker365. He says, if they do fire Matt Canada, why not hire Byron Leftwich? He won a Super Bowl with the Bucs and Brady as an OC, and he used to play for the Steelers. Now, this is definitely something that I could see happening. I think that Byron Leftwich, if Matt Canada gets fired this year, I think Leftwich is one of the more likely coordinator candidates to be the Steelers' offensive coordinator next year. He's got a connection with Mike Tomlin. He runs the same offense that Bruce Arians ran in his time with the Steelers, right? He's a Bruce Arians disciple. So if Mike Tomlin goes out, asks his buddy Bruce Arians, who should I hire? He's going to tell you Byron Leftwich. So I can see all the connections here. Does this offense really fit the personnel? I think it does. I mean, this offense really prioritizes choice routes, downfield passing. That's kind of right in George Pickens' lane, in my opinion. So I actually think it's a really good fit. And, I think it's definitely something that's very likely to happen as well because of the connections. Then we got one from Dan Robbins. Who did this? Oh, my goodness. Who did the Dan Robbins? What are the chances that Mike Tomlin gets fired at the end of this season? Well, it seems like Matt Canada, the offensive coordinator, has dropped in and given us a question here on the Steelers Talk Live mailbag. Here's the thing. I don't think there's a very high chance that Mike Tomlin gets fired. Now, if they lose and they win 2 games this year and they lose the rest of the games this year, maybe there's a chance if it just turns into an absolute circus. But here's the thing, man. With all the sustained success that Mike Tomlin has had throughout his time here in Pittsburgh, it's earned him a little bit of leeway here. So if he has a bad season this year, I think he gets one more shot to pick an offensive coordinator. And if it doesn't work out this time, I think that's going to be it. But in terms of a firing this season, I don't necessarily see that happening. Personally, I'm going to give it maybe a 5% chance that Mike Tomlin is fired here in 2023. Now, let me know what you guys think. What is the percent chance that Mike Tomlin gets fired at some point this season? It could be during the season. It could be after the season. Let me know what you guys think on a scale of 1 to 100. What are the chances that Mike Tomlin gets fired? This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show, so YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. My man Theodore Restucci is in the chat, and he says, would you guys also like to see Mitch play a game where he wasn't set up to fail and be overly nervous to hold a spot on the roster? I like Pickett more, but still. Now, I understand the arguments for why the Steelers should maybe go with Mitchell Trubisky, right? Pickett has not looked good through a quarter way through the season. Mitchell Trubisky arguably played better than Pickett last year when he was in the games. But I still think that you got to go with Kenny Pickett. He's the guy you drafted in the first round. You got to give him his shot. It's been only 4 games to this point. Who knows? Maybe he turns things around. I'm not super confident that he's going to do that. But at this point in the season, I still think it's too early to make the move to go to Mitch. So, it'd be interesting to see if Mitch gets a start at some point this year. But for right now, I say stick with Pickett. Then we got one from Pyro Scheme 7-4. And he says, why is Mike Sullivan not on the hot seat? Is he not directly responsible for fixing Pickett's issues from college? So I think Mike Sullivan maybe is on the hot seat, actually, Pyro. He doesn't get discussed a whole lot. And in fact, when he does get discussed, he gets discussed as a potential Matt Canada replacement, right? But Kenny is still showing a lot of the same issues that he showed in college. He doesn't have great pocket presence. The footwork is definitely spotty. He's not a great drop-back pocket passer at this point in his career. He's just not. I think he's lost a little bit of his accuracy even, too. He's been very inaccurate to start this season, which concerns me a lot. So I don't know if that's a mechanical switch that he made this offseason that just hasn't worked out for him. I don't know if that's Mike Sullivan's doing. I don't know if that's Kenny's QB coach is doing. It's really tough to tell. I'm not in the building. I don't know who's responsible for what. But at this point, yeah, Mike Sullivan absolutely, in my opinion, should be on the hot seat because neither Mitch or Kenny has looked particularly good with their time under his tutelage. Now, coming up here, I got more Steelers questions to break down with you guys. But first, let's have a word from our sponsor here at BetUS. They're offering you guys a 125% deposit bonus when you go to chatsports.com/bet and use promo code Steelers125. So if you put in a deposit of $100, $600, they're going to match that 125% for you to use on your bet. So you put in $100, you get $225 total dollars to use on your bets. 125% of your deposit goes back to you to use on your bets. So put in $100, you get $225 value. That's a fantastic deal in my opinion. If you want to take advantage of that before this week's game versus the Ravens, go down there, chatsports.com/bet and use promo code Steelers125 today. Then my man Young Noticeable here says, hear me out, Cooper Rush or Kyler Murray maybe. I'm sorry, but Pickett ain't it, and I don't see us tanking for a good enough QB in the draft. Kenny needs to sit behind a vet and learn some more. So at this point, if you're sitting Kenny, I mean, there's a reason why people have completely blasted the New York Jets for sticking with Zach Wilson, right? There's a reason why that is. In the modern day NFL, you can criticize it, you can say it's unfair, whatever, but in the modern NFL, you really have 2 years, sometimes maybe 3 years, to figure this thing out as a starting quarterback. You're expected to be productive right away. This is a results-based business. And Kenny, I just don't, he's got some issues that are going to be very tough to fix. Accuracy issues, that's going to be tough to fix. Pocket presence issues, that's not really something you can really coach, or at least it's very difficult to coach out of a player. It's more of an instincts thing and how someone plays the game. So I just think that Kenny, if he's going to make it, he's going to have to make it this year. And I don't think Kyler Murray is really an option. I think the Cardinals want him back. I don't think that they're going to trade him. And even if you do trade for Kyler, he's not going to be playing for months. So I don't really like that idea either. Plus, he's a locker room cancer. Don't like that idea. Cooper Rush is a backup quarterback. I don't want him as the starter either. So I don't really like either of those. I don't really like either of those options there, young noticeable. I think what you got to do is you got to try to win football games this year with Kenny Pickett. If you have to go to Mitch Trubisky this year, do that. And maybe if like a Ryan Tannehill becomes available or something like that, somebody decent becomes available at the trade deadline, then maybe. But overall, I think that you try your luck this year. If it doesn't work out, look towards the trade market, the free agency market, and the draft to get yourself a new quarterback. Then we got one from DJ KJ who says, "Hey, Jack, can you put a video saying Matt Canada is officially fired just to make me feel better?" No, DJ KJ, I can't do that just yet. But guess what? When it happens, if it happens next week, Coop and I are going to be going live on Monday, Tuesday, whenever the news comes out, and we are going to absolutely party here on the show. So if you haven't already subscribed, make sure you click that subscribe button so you can join us when Matt Canada gets fired. Another one, then we got one from Steelers Nation 24/7 who says, "Will Denzel Mims be on the Steelers' 53-man roster when they come back from the bye?" I don't think so. I think Deontay Johnson is looking like he's going to be back by week 7 at this point. He's doing a good job with his recovery. Calvin Austin III is playing well. Maybe he sneaks onto the roster at some point this year. But I don't think Denzel Mims is going to be somebody that's a real impact on the Steelers team this year. I see him more as a practice squad kind of guy, depth piece. Don't really see him being a true contributor for this team here in 2023. Now, let me know what you guys think about the Denzel Mims signing of the practice squad. He has been added to the practice squad. So let me know what you guys think about the new Steelers receiver. Give me an A, a B, a C, a D, or an F down there in the comment section. Then we got one from KD Swag who says, "Am I the only one fine with losing so we can clean house with the staff and draft another quarterback? We need young and creative on both sides of the ball. Pittsburgh needs to catch up with the league." Now listen, I completely agree with KD Swag here in terms of needing to get younger and more creative on both sides of the football. The offense is back in 1995. The situational awareness from Matt Canada is abysmal as well. And then on defense, Terrell Austin. I was a big supporter of his coming into this season because towards the end of last year, this defense was among the best in football, right? It was number 1 or number 2 in most defensive categories those last 9 weeks. And now he's playing a bunch of cover 4, a bunch of off coverage. And that, to me, just isn't what the Pittsburgh Steelers are known for. They're more known for getting up in people's faces, press coverage, aggressive, make you beat us down the field with deep shots down the field. And that's not really what they're doing right now. Terrell Austin's trying to go with more the Vic Fangio route, play lots of cover 6, cover 4, off coverage, bend but don't break kind of philosophy. And that's not really the type of defensive philosophy I like. I like more of the Brian Flores approach. Put pressure on the quarterback. Make them work. Press coverage. Lots of DBs on the field. Put speed on the field. That's what's modern in the National Football League nowadays. And right now the Steelers look slow. They look like that they're playing kind of in their fears, to quote Mike Tomlin. And it's not looking good. So although I'm not okay with losing, I'm never going to be okay with losing. Still want this team to win and figure things out. His criticism here that the Steelers need to get better and more creative on both sides of the football is absolutely warranted. Then we got one from Chase Jackson here. says, I think we should have traded for J.C. Jackson for what the Patriots got for him. Now, the Patriots kind of got a steal, but J.C. Jackson's been terrible, Coop. And especially if the Steelers are going to keep running what they're running, off coverage, cover 4, cover 6, kind of force the short pass, that's not really what J.C. Jackson does well, right? He just went from a system in L.A. doing that, and he was one of the worst cover 4, cover 6 type corners in the league. Just look at his Pro Football Focus grading the last 2 years when he's been in L.A. It's been terrible. J.C. Jackson's more of a press kind of guy, more of a true man-to-man corner, and I think the Patriots do that. He's going to fit in just like old times with the New England Patriots. If the Steelers wanted to make that transition back to press coverage, I'd 100% be on board. But if Terrell Austin's going to keep us in this current system, J.C. Jackson just simply wouldn't be a fit. Then we got one from Hoagie Man. It says, do you think Matt Canada will get fired after this week? And if so, how much do you see this offense improving under his replacement? Now, I think if the offense sucks again this week, 10 or less points, and a loss versus the Ravens, I think there's a pretty good shot that Matt Canada is fired. Now, as for who replaces him, it's probably going to be either Glenn Thomas or Mike Sullivan, in my opinion. And then here's the thing with this situation, guys. Matt Canada's foundation, the plan has already been set in place. You can't completely change this offense, right? It's not like you can introduce a completely new playbook in the middle of the season. So you're still going to be stuck with a really bad offensive line. You're still going to get stuck with the lowest rated quarterback in football right now in Kenny Pickett. And you're going to be stuck with Canada's playbook. So it's not like your offense is going to be worlds better immediately when Matt Canada gets fired. But I think the one area where this Steelers defense or offense can really improve is situational awareness. You get somebody in there that actually understands what play calls work in certain situations. Like, for example, not running 4 verticals at the 7-yard line. For example, not throwing the ball out of shotgun on 4th and 1. That kind of situational shit that just got the Steelers into so much trouble with Matt Canada. Having somebody that actually understands what plays to call in Matt Canada's playbook at the right time, that's going to be a good improvement for the Pittsburgh Steelers moving forward. Now, let me know what you guys think about Matt Canada down there in the comments section. Predict it for me. Will Matt Canada be fired after this week? Give me a yes or give me a no. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. And that'll be it for this week's mailbag. Thank you to everybody that submitted questions. If you want to join the most interactive Steelers YouTube community here on the platform, go ahead and do me a favor. Click that subscribe button for me. Right now, we have weekly live shows. We got weekly watch parties for all 17 regular season games. And we currently have the highest grossing YouTube watch parties for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So if you want to join the biggest watch parties on the YouTube platform for Pittsburgh Steelers fans, this is going to be the place for you. Make sure you click that subscribe button right now. All right, Coop. 2 down, 1 to go.
2 down, 1 to go. We appreciate you guys giving us all your questions. There's a lot of Matt Canada conjecture. I wonder why.
Yeah, I wonder why, Coop.
Probably because he stinks.
He's not good. If they score 10 or less points this week, even 13 points, they need to go.
They have to score multiple touchdowns, I think.
Oh, I see the newest Black Diamond has joined the chat.
Go Blue Buckeyes!
My man, Go Blue Buckeyes in the chat.
What up, homie?
What's up, Go Blue Buckeye? He was our MVP on last week's watch party, where he and F1 Video Watcher absolutely went after it.
They went off.
In a super chat battle. So big thanks to Go Blue Buckeye. Can we show the super chat menu here, Coop? Go Blue Buckeye, we're currently doing a half-off deal here. So any super chat gets a Here We Go Steelers chant. $5, we'll sing the O Canada song. $10, we'll do a Bean-Boozled jelly bean. And then a $20 super chat. So over 50% off Tortilla Slaps.
I love singing O Canada, and I love singing Here We Go Steelers.
Me too. Coop,
it's my favorite pastime.
Coop, can you do me a favor?
What's that?
Can you grab me some water, please? I'm out.
This guy's unbelievable.
I know.
F. Sperry.
Hey, I said please, all right? Samuel Simoes says, someone saw Colin Kaepernick in Pittsburgh. Changes are coming. Here's the thing. Colin Kaepernick's not going to be a Steeler. He's not going to be anybody. Dude hasn't played since what, 2016, 2017? And when he did play, he got benched for Blaine Gabbert because he sucks. I'm sorry, man. Colin Kaepernick ain't it. All right, he's not the answer. I don't know if Kenny Pickett or Mitch Trubisky is the answer, but I know for sure Colin Kaepernick is not. He stinks. All right, so Coop's going to go grab me some water real quick because he's a lamb.
What?
He's a lamb.
What does that mean?
It means you're a good guy. Oh, I didn't know that. He's a good guy. All right. Young Noticeable 25 says, I was there in person and we looked like absolute SHIT. Yes, we did, Young Noticeable. We looked terrible last week, unfortunately. But we're about to get into this last segment here. Don't go anywhere. We got Matt Canada replacements coming up here in about 5 minutes once Coop gets my water. Matt Canada replacements. I got 2 people that I think are the likely candidates to be the interim OC. And then I've got 5 people that I would prioritize targeting this offseason to go get as a new offensive coordinator in 2024. Now, before I get into this, I will say that I want Mike Tomlin to go outside of the organization. Mike Tomlin there's nothing else that Mike Tomlin loves to do more than promote from within. However, you got to get some new blood in there. This offense, it looks like it's from 1995. Let's just be completely honest with you, with a bunch of stick routes and stop routes and nothing is moving and nothing is crossing over the middle. Like, it just doesn't look like modern NFL football on the offensive side of the ball. And because of that, I think Mike Tomlin has to go outside the organization to get some new blood in here. Somebody that's coached in Miami, someone that's coached in San Francisco, someone that's coached in LA, that has worked with these Shanahan-style systems, because I really think that that's the future of the NFL. Crossing routes, outside zone run schemes, all these different stuff, competent offensive line play. It is so, so, so important for the Pittsburgh Steelers to get this next offensive coordinator hire right. And I definitely think it's going to be interesting. So Timothy Mann says, Kirk Cousins would love playing for Pittsburgh. He said it in an interview. What do you think about that one, Coop?
What do I think about what?
Kirk Cousins coming to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I'm a big Captain Kirk fan. I actually think he'd be very good. He's a veteran QB. Some people don't like him because he has the primetime record and whatnot, but I think Kirk would be a good QB. I'm still going to stick with Kenny Pickett and see him out at least another season, but Kirk is a free agent this year, and I wouldn't hate it.
Yeah, I can't say I'd hate it, especially if Pickett keeps playing the way he is. I would. It's definitely an improvement. I think you would have to.
Let's go!
If you can hear Coop in the background, he's currently watching his Texas Rangers absolutely destroy the Tampa Bay Rays. They're about to move on to the divisional series. But I'm looking at Kirk Cousins. I think that he'd be better than a lot of other options that are out there this offseason. But there's a lot of good quarterbacks in this year's draft, Coop. And if things go really haywire here and you have 5-6 wins and you're in position to get one of these quarterbacks, Penix, Bo Nix, some of these other quarterbacks, Quinn Ewers, your guy out of Texas, Coop.
There's a lot of good QBs.
There's a lot of good QBs.
It's a deep QB class. Obviously, Williams and May are the top 2, but after that, you have Quinn Ewers, you have Michael Penix, you have Bo Nix, you have there's a bunch of other guys out there that would still be good potential franchise QBs.
Yeah, and then Yogi's like, what about Sanders? I don't think Sanders is coming out this year.
It sounds like he's not going to come out because he would be the number 1 QB in the 25 class.
Yeah, so I think that I think Prime is probably going to keep him in Colorado this next year. I like Sanders. I think he's box office. Whoever gets Shadur Sanders, he's going to get a bunch of primetime games every single year. It's just guaranteed. But is he really Mike Tomlin's kind of quarterback? Is he really a Pittsburgh Steelers kind of guy? Because he's got a lot of flash.
Shadur?
Yeah.
Yeah, he does have a lot of flash. But he's also a damn good quarterback, man.
And that's another thing with Kirk is that he's not. He doesn't really feel like a Pittsburgh quarterback to me.
Oh, see, I think
like
Kirk does.
Like he's kind of like a nice guy, Pittsburgh's
not gritty.
Pittsburgh's very like gritty. It's very blue collar, in your face. That's not who Kirk Cousins is. Now I don't think that's a deal breaker by any means, but I mean it's just going to be interesting, right? It's just going to be. I just saw someone say, "What about Marcus Mariota?" Hell no. Mariota stinks. I'm sorry. I mean, Phoenix 420. Appreciate you, my man. No Marcus Mariota. And a $5 super chat. Let's go.
Uh-oh.
From last week's MVP. Go Blue Buckeye. I'm currently working on your super chat sticker.
We will have it by Sunday.
We will have it on Sunday's watch party for you. But for now, you got the Gold Club. He says, love to do more, but I had more fun with all of you than I probably should have on Sunday's loss. Great channel. Happy to support.
Go Blue Buckeye. We love you, man. You were an absolute GOAT. Even before the super chats, you were still in the chat, always commenting, always interacting. So you're a real GOAT for that one, for sure.
You are a GOAT. Go Blue Buckeye. Thank you so much for your support. And it's a $5 super chat, so we get to sing the O Canada song, Coop. O Canada, you dumb and stupid man. All know you suck except for Mike Tomlin. With burning hearts we see you suck, calling jet sweeps 1, 2, 3. From far and wide, oh Canada, we share our hate for thee. F-U-C-K, Canada! Oh my God, I love that.
I'm gonna sing it, Sperry.
You're going to sing what?
Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go.
Love it, my man.
Let's go.
Thank you to Go Blue Buckeye for the $5 super chat. And if you want us to sing another Matt Canada song, $5. Send in $5. We'll sing the song for you. $10. We'll eat a nasty jelly bean. But first here, man, let's get into this final segment of the day, Coop. Oh, $5!
Dominic!
Let's go! Dominic coming in. He's been a real one for so long, man. He is absolutely awesome. Dominic Schrader, been here since the very beginning. He was with us from our very first live show, Coop.
Dominic Schrader.
I think he was our first ever super chatter on the show. What's up, Dominic? Says sign Cliff Kingsbury, tank for Williams, or draft Drew Allar next year. We should have left Pat P in Canada in Houston. Start JPJ. Now, it sounds like Joey is actually going to get a little bit more playing time this week.
Dude, playmakers make plays. Joey Porter Jr. makes plays. They got to play him.
Well, I mean, like, Joey Porter Jr. is the perfect reason why the Steelers should be playing more press coverage. That's what Joey Porter Jr. does really well. And, they're playing a lot of off coverage now, but that's just not Pittsburgh Steelers football. You want to get up in people's faces. You want to say, beat us. Beat us deep. We dare you. That's Pittsburgh Steeler football right there, where we impose our will on people. That's not what's happening on defense right now, unless the pass rush gets home. And last week it didn't. Appreciate your super chat, Dom. All right, and that's another $5. So let's sing that O Canada song of Mr. Coop. O Canada, you dumb and stupid man. All know you suck except for Mike Tomlin. With burning hearts we see you suck, calling jet sweeps 1, 2, 3. From far and wide, oh Canada, we share our hate for thee. F-U-C-K, Canada! God, he sucks, man.
He's the worst offensive coordinator in the history of football.
Jason Garrett was a man.
He's what? Yeah.
Jason Garrett is better than Matt Canada.
I would rather have Jason Garrett as my offensive coordinator.
You know that.
Oh, my goodness, man.
All right, Sperry.
Yeah.
We do have an update
Okay.
from the Pittsburgh Steelers.
What's
Practice report from today.
Okay.
Presley Harvin, Patrick Peterson, Dan Moore Jr., Isaac Sayamalu, Chucks, James Daniels, Pat Fryermuth,
So
Marvin
long.
Leal, all DNP.
I mean, it's just Wednesday, Coop. But man,
It's only Wednesday.
That's a long list.
And then you have Kenny Pickett and Cole Holcomb were limited as well.
All right, man, let's get into this final segment. If you want us to sing that Canada song, $5 super chats. All right, so send those in. All right, man. Coop, are you ready to get things going?
Yes, give me 1 sec.
All right. Coop's Texas Rangers are beating the Rays 4-0, by the way. It looks like they're about to move on to the divisional series.
A lot of games, Sperry. A lot of games.
Gotta play the
Baltimore Orioles.
well, I guess it depends who wins between Minnesota and Toronto, but
No, it's a bracket. So we play Baltimore.
That's right. This new playoff system sucks.
It does suck.
All right, man. I mean, the Pittsburgh Pirates, of course, missed the playoffs this year, unfortunately. Everybody that's a Steelers Talk watcher, we're cheering for the Minnesota Twins. All right.
And the Texas Rangers.
Minnesota Twins all the way. Let's go. All right, Coop, are we ready to get things going?
Are you ready to get things
I
going?
am ready to talk some Matt Canada replacements. I've been waiting to do this video
He stinks.
for a while. All right, so here we go. Matt Canada replacements coming at you right now. Matt Canada is the worst offensive coordinator in the National Football League. So because of that, I think the Steelers are going to move on from him at some point this season. So here's my list of the Matt Canada replacements I would target if I were Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin. Before I share with you guys my list, who's your guy? Let me know down there in the comments. Who do you want the Steelers to replace Matt Canada with? Is it maybe a Byron Leftwich? Is it somebody else? Let me know down there in the comments section what you guys think. Is it Big Ben Roethlisberger? Let me know what you guys think, man. I can't wait to see some of the names you put down there in the comments section. All right, so now let's start with the interim candidates, where I don't think that they're going to hire somebody outside the organization to replace Matt Canada, right? They're going to pick someone from within the organization to take the reins for the rest of the season. And I do think that the two main candidates here are going to be Glenn Thomas, the offensive assistant, and Mike Sullivan, the quarterback's coach, okay? So there's pros and cons to both of these guys. If I'd have to bet on one of them being the interim, I'm going to pick Glenn Thomas. They brought him in during this offseason knowing that Matt Canada might not be the answer at offensive coordinator, and I really think that Glenn Thomas, somebody that actually has play calling experience, Mike Sullivan does not at the NFL level or at the college level. So you look at a guy like Glenn Thomas, somebody that called plays at Arizona State, wasn't overly successful, but at least he's done it before, and I think he's got a little bit more situational awareness than Matt Canada. I mean, Canada runs 4 verticals at the 7-yard line. He throws from shotgun on 4th and 1. This guy has no freaking idea what play calls to call in these situational moments. I think Glenn Thomas would be better than Matt Canada in terms of those situational moments. And then Mike Sullivan, I'm not sure if I necessarily trust him to take the reins of a play caller. He's just never done it at this point in his career. And in my opinion, I definitely think that Glenn Thomas is the potential answer here for the Pittsburgh Steelers if Mike Tomlin does in fact fire Matt Canada after Week 5. Now, if they fire Matt Canada, a big reason might be because he might have a burner account on Twitter absolutely roasting Mike Tomlin, Kenny Pickett, and his own Steelers players. If you want to see what went on with that situation, we have a video breaking it all down here on YouTube where I go over the things that this burner account said, the reason why people think it's Matt Canada, and then I tell you why I don't think it's Matt Canada that's actually behind it. But it's definitely fun to talk about. So if you want to see some rumors, go ahead, click the link in the comments and description. Now, when it comes to picking a new offensive coordinator this season in terms of an interim, like I said, I think it's going to be Glenn Thomas. I think we need to manage our expectations as to just how much better the offense is going to get under a new offensive coordinator this year. You got to understand that the foundation that Canada has already set is already in place. It's not like you're going to be putting in a brand new playbook when Matt Canada gets fired. So you're still going to get stuck with really an old school style NFL playbook. But at least the situational play calling could improve if Glenn Thomas, somebody else, comes in to replace him. And listen, the unfortunate reality for the Pittsburgh Steelers on offense this year is that the offensive line and the quarterback play have not been good enough to really be confident that a new offensive coordinator is going to be enough for this Steelers offense to really turn it around. I think that you can expect some level of improvement, but if you're expecting like 30 points a game, absolutely lighting it up, that sort of stuff, I don't think that's going to be in the cards for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I think that Glenn Thomas, if he does take over, I think it will be improvement. It'll be better than Matt Canada, don't get me wrong, but with the state of this offensive line and the quarterback play to this point, you can't have confidence that it'll get that much better. Now, coming up, I'm going to give you my top 5 offensive coordinator candidates heading into next year. But before I get into that, let's go into our sponsor for today's show, BetUS. Go chatsports.com/bet and use promo code Steelers125 to get a 125% deposit bonus on deposits of $100 to $600. So, for example, you put in $100 on the BetUS website and use promo code Steelers125. They're going to give you $125 additional dollars to use on your bets, a $225 value for just a $100 investment. That's one heck of a deal if you want to take advantage of that to use on your bets this football season. Go chatsports.com/bet and use promo code Steelers125 to get that deposit bonus today. Now let's start with Deuce Staley, the running backs coach there in the Carolina Panthers. Now you might be saying, Jack, Carolina Panthers stink. Why would we go get a coach from the Panthers coaching staff? Well, the reason why I'd go get Deuce is because I think that he's got some particular connections that I think would be pretty impressive to Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin as a potential next offensive coordinator. You take a look at it right now. He's the Carolina Panthers running back coach right now and assistant head coach, I will say. And he's also worked alongside Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson back in 2022. And he worked really closely with him. Of course, Ben Johnson, one of the best offensive minds in football right now. That offense in Detroit is absolutely stellar. Ben Johnson will probably be the first guy hired for a head coaching vacancy this year. And also, Deuce Staley, not only is a former Pittsburgh Steeler, but he has a really tough-nosed approach that I think Mike Tomlin would really appreciate. He's somebody that would really take on the mantra of the standard is the standard. And this guy just seems like a Pittsburgh Steelers coach, man, in my opinion. Reminds me a lot of Brian Flores in terms of his demeanor. Obviously, different side of the football. But I think Deuce Staley is somebody that's a former Steeler. He knows the Rooney family, of course. He's got that connection, and he's got a connection to a really great offensive coordinator in this league that might pay dividends for him here in Pittsburgh. Now, number 4 on my list, Byron Leftwich, former Steelers backup quarterback. He's got that connection to Mike Tomlin, and right now he's a free agent, right? He's formerly with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, won the Super Bowl as the offensive coordinator for Tom Brady, Bruce Arians, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers back in 2020 during the COVID year. And he had some success, right? He had some success even with Jameis Winston in 2019, even though Winston threw for an NFL record in interceptions that season, right? So last year, not all that great for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on offense, but he does have that connection to not only Mike Tomlin being a former backup quarterback, but also to Bruce Arians, who I'm telling you right now, Mike Tomlin is going to consult Bruce Arians as to who the next offensive coordinator for this team should be. Take a look at that offense from last season, and it just wasn't overall that impressive. So this is kind of the reasoning against Byron Leftwich, is that with a waning Tom Brady, without a good offensive line, all these different things, this offense was not good, right? 25th in points, 25th in yards per play. The turnovers were fine, but that can be attributed to Brady, I think. Third down, 19th, red zone, 22nd. That's just not great numbers right there with some pretty good talent on his roster. So I think it's definitely going to be interesting to see if Leftwich is on their short list, given that he didn't finish things out in Tampa Bay very well, but he runs the same exact offense that Bruce Arians ran here in Pittsburgh. He's got that connection with Mike Tomlin. I think it's definitely likely that Byron Leftwich will be a candidate for this vacancy come the 2024 season. Now, coming up, my top 3 offensive coordinator picks for the Pittsburgh Steelers here in 2024. But before I get into that, do me a favor real quick. And if you hate Matt Canada, you want this guy to get fired after this week, do me a favor. Click that thumbs up icon and like today's video. Number 3 on my list, Zach Robinson, the quarterback's coach from the Los Angeles Rams. Now, of course, the McVay tree is getting wider and wider every single season, right? You see coaches coming from the McVay tree, get head coaching jobs. It seems like every hiring cycle at this point. Zach Robinson is somebody that could even get a head coaching job next year if he does well enough in those interviews. But listen, man, he's a quarterbacks coach right now. He's not an offensive coordinator. So if there's an opportunity to go from QB coach to offensive coordinator somewhere else, I think he would take that. And listen, I want to see this third generation West Coast system implemented here in Pittsburgh. It is new school. It is modern. It gets people on the run. It allows it's very easy on quarterbacks as well. Very QB-friendly systems. I think that this is the future of NFL offense. And if you can get somebody from this tree that actually knows what they're doing, I think that it's definitely something in the best interest of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And that's why number 2 on my list, another third-generation West Coast offense, the Miami Dolphins. Darrell Bevell, somebody that has a ton of experience play calling in the National Football League, a former Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator with the Seattle Seahawks. He has experience developing quarterbacks. He helped develop Trevor Lawrence, Russell Wilson. The Steelers might be drafting another quarterback next year. Darrell Bevell not only comes from the third-generation West Coast scheme, learning under Mike McDaniel, there with arguably the best defense in football in Miami. He's got the experience being a coordinator in this league for over a decade. And then also, man, I think that he's got a great track record of developing quarterback talent. I think that Darrell Bevell is a fantastic option for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I've had him as my number 1 option for a while, but I have a new number 1 option on my list, and it's Chris Forster, the run game coordinator / offensive line coach for the San Francisco 49ers. This entire third-generation West Coast offensive revolution that we're seeing in the NFL nowadays was started by Kyle Shanahan. And of course, Sean McVay as well, but the Shanahan tree is almost just as big now as the McVay tree, right? These two guys have combined for more head coaching hires than any other head coach over the last probably 5 years, and it's not close. And Chris Forster is somebody that's designed a hell of a run game there in San Francisco. He's somebody that's also worked with offensive lines in the past and has developed some of the best offensive lines in the National Football League time and time again. And guess what the Pittsburgh Steelers need, man? They need somebody with experience with these offensive linemen to get this thing turned around, because this offensive line has been terrible for too many years at this point. I'm done waiting around and sitting around for it to change. I want somebody to come in here and fix it. I think Chris Forster is the right man for the job because he's just a run game coordinator right now. I would say get him in your building, make him completely responsible for your offense. I think that's something that he would take. And I think that I would do whatever it takes to get Chris Forster or Darrell Bevell as the offensive coordinator of the Pittsburgh Steelers moving forward. Now, that'll be it for today's show. Let me know what you guys think of my list down there in the comment section. Of course, remember to let me know who you want the Steelers to hire down there in the comment section. And make sure you click that subscribe button, because if they fire Matt Canada, when they hire a new offensive coordinator, we are going to have videos for you guys here on the channel. We are going to be going live when Matt Canada gets fired. If he gets fired this year, we're going to be partying it up. You're not going to want to miss it. Make sure you click that subscribe button for me right now. All right, that's it, Coop. That is our final segment of the day. Still got 150 people watching, though. Can we get to 100 likes, please, before we sign off? Can we get it to 100 likes? We need 5 more likes.
In summary, what I took from that segment is that you really want a guy who's from the Shanahan tree.
Shanahan or McVay?
Yeah.
For sure. I want somebody to bring in a West Coast system. I'd be okay with Byron Leftwich. I'd be okay with Deuce Staley. But I really want one of these guys that's going to be implementing a new school system here in Pittsburgh. Because right now you're running like a super old school 1990s NFL style offense with Matt Canada.
You need to start running a 21st century offense.
Need to start running a system where it's a lot of over the middle stuff. It's a lot of stuff to get guys on the move.
And
like
that's
the modern day NFL. And right now Matt Canada, as we all know, like he loves stop routes. He loves to send guys out there on comebacks, on pure hitch routes. Like he loves to have guys sit and wait for the football. That's not the modern NFL. The modern NFL is guys catching it and running after the catch. That's what Kansas City does. That's what San Francisco does. That's what Miami does. That's what all the good offenses in the game today do, and the Steelers don't do that at all.
You have to get receivers on the move.
Exactly.
You just have to.
That's 100%. That's 100% correct.
When you have dynamic playmakers like Deontay Johnson out there, and I'll even throw Calvin Austin into this as well, you get those guys on the move, they're able to make guys miss and be able to create explosive plays.
Yeah. Wesley Slemp says Matt Canada is not the problem. He doesn't have any players.
Are you Matt Canada's burner as well?
Yeah, is that a Matt Canada burner as well? Here's the thing, Wesley. I think he does have players. I really do. I think Najee Harris and Jalen Warren are pretty good running backs. I think Pat Freiermuth is an excellent receiving tight end. I think Darnell Washington can get the job done. We've seen Isaac Seumalo be a high-end starter in this league. We've seen James Daniels and Mason Cole play at a high level in this league. We have seen George Pickens look like a number one superstar receiver. We have seen Deontay Johnson play extremely well in this league. We've seen Calvin Austin III get open time and time again this year. You cannot say that this is like the type of roster where it's like
the Pittsburgh Steelers
it's not like the Arizona Cardinals. Let's put it that way.
The Pittsburgh Steelers do not have a lack of talent on their roster.
Exactly. Like, is it the most talented offensive roster in the league? No. Kenny Pickett might not be a good quarterback. He might be a bust. That's granted. But the offensive play calling legitimately stinks. It does. The situational awareness. Do you have an explanation for passing the football 4th and 1 from shotgun when the defense knows 90% of the time when you're in shotgun you don't run the football? No. Is there an excuse for running 4 verticals at the 7-yard line? No. There is no excuses for those kinds of decisions. These terrible design screens that he runs every game that loses 4 or 5 yards every time. And then Matt Canada admits it himself. This offense is not built to come from behind. What the hell are we doing then?
Well, then we got to start making more explosive plays there, Matt. How about that?
Yeah, how about that? How about we throw the ball down the field, Matt Canada? How about we get some explosive plays? How about we get some guys in space like Calvin Austin III and George Pickens, who are really good after the catch, by the way. Like, with all due respect, Wesley Slemp.
Freaking fire Matt Canada.
Matt Canada has a big portion of the blame put on him, in my opinion. Mike Tomlin deserves blame as well. Kenny Pickett deserves blame. Pat Meyer, the offensive line coach, deserves a lot of blame as well. But listen, man, if your scheme isn't putting your players in the best positions to succeed, and in my opinion, my humble opinion, based on what I've seen on film this season, that's exactly what's happening. It's a lot of people stopping. It's a lot of people stagnant. It's a lot of people running concepts that are like 20 years old at this point, 20-plus years old.
Get with the times.
Get with the times, man. And, I'm not somebody that's like, it's all on Canada. Like, none of it is on the offensive line. None of it's on Pickett. None of it's on Tomlin. I'm not that type of person, right? But you have to give credit and blame where it's due. And with all due respect, Canada deserves a lot of that blame. He really does.
Absolutely he does, man. I mean, the reason the offense isn't going at an elite level, it's not solely because of Canada, but at the end of the day, he is the offensive coordinator. He's responsible for what happens on the offensive side of the ball.
I want to sing the O Canada song again, man.
I would love that.
Can we get one more $5 super chat so we can sing the O Canada song? If we can get one more $5 super chat in the next 2 minutes, we'll sing the O Canada song, all right? Can we get one more $5 super chat? I want to sing that song so bad. Because Canada sucks. I want him fired. I want him going somewhere else. Here's the thing.
Retirement.
Here's the thing, man. If he gets fired here, I'm not even sure if there's going to be a job waiting for him in college football.
He can go to Division II.
Yeah, go to Division II. Have fun at Minnesota State.
Go to Minot.
Oh, Elliptic 6.
Oh, he's here.
Gold Club member. Let's go. With a $5 super chat.
He was lurking in the background.
I saw Elliptic 6 lurking there. He's had some really big days, man. Appreciate you, Elliptic 6. Appreciate your support. Hope to see you on Sunday for our live watch party. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. All right, that's a 5, so we'll sing the O Canada song one last time before we say goodbye.
You ready?
If you want us to sing it forever, just keep sending in $5 super chats.
I need my vocal cords.
As long as the $5 super chats come in, we'll sing the O Canada song. Okay? Oh, Canada, you dumb and stupid man. All know you suck except for Mike Tomlin. With burning hearts we see you suck, calling jet sweeps 1, 2, 3. From far and wide, oh Canada, we share our hate for thee. F-U-C-K, Canada! He sucks.
He blows.
Get him out of here.
Fire him.
All right, man, that's going to be it for today's show. Mr. Coop, thought we had a pretty nice show today.
Great show. Got some segments out of the way. Interacted with the Yinzas.
We got to bash Matt Canada a little bit today.
It was a therapy session.
It was definitely a fun show, man. So make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already.
We'll see you guys Sunday.
Steelers,
Ravens. It's time. Let's go.
And by the way, we're doing a super chat battle against the Baltimore Ravens channel.
We're going to drown them.
And we are going to drown them in money. Because the Ravens host Tyler Jones.
He's talking all this crap.
He told his audience yesterday that he's going to shove me into a locker.
That sounds about right.
We're going to shove him into a locker made of money.
Let's go.
Let's go, man. Let's go. All right. So that'll be it for today's show. Thank you to everybody that super chatted. Thank you to everyone that put in questions today. We will see you guys on Sunday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time for the Steelers Talk live watch party. Have a great day, guys. Enjoy the baseball action today if you're a baseball fan. Go Twins. Let's go Twins. Let's go Rangers, right, Coop?
Let's go Rangers, baby.
All right, man. That'll be it. Okay, that'll be it. That'll be it for today's show, guys. Thank you guys so much for all of your support. We'll see you guys later. And as always, here we go, Steelers.